Welcome to CFL Classics. I'm your host, Chris Schultz. Today we'll go back to the 1987 Eastern Divisional Final between the Toronto Argonauts and the host, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now, the reason both of these teams made it this far was by playing great defensive football. During the regular season, Winnipeg gave up a league-low 409 points. Toronto was second with just 427 points allowed. It was the combination of the Argo defense and the brutally cold weather conditions that would keep this game close early. I remember very clearly the grass field at Winnipeg Stadium, frozen solid, and the first quarter was a continuous experiment as to which type of shoe performed the best. In the end, many players switched from football cleats to basketball shoes to gain more surface contact. Let's get to the game, a game no one gave Toronto any chance to win.
The Argos haven't had an obvious number one quarterback this season. Today it's Gilbert Renfro, and he'll be backed up by John Conjemi. Gil Fennerty in the backfield is the Eastern Rookie of the Year. The big play man in the Argos pass attack is number one from the left slot, Darryl Smith. Up front, there's 540 pounds of offensive tackle, Chris Schultz on one side, Kelvin Prunster on the other. Defensively for Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers use three men up front, including Michael Gray in the left end. The linebackers are well known around the league and certainly to the Argonauts, who have dubbed them the Magpies. In the Winnipeg secondary is the leading interceptor in the CFL, Roy Bennett, on the left corner. The Bombers' offense is directed by Tom Clements, Shenley nominee, outstanding player, East Division. Willard Reeves, the leading rusher in the league, returns from an injury today. The receivers are perhaps the best quartet in the CFL. Veteran Nick Bastaya out of the Winnipeg offensive line, and that is somewhat of a concern for the Blue Bombers. The Argo defense, they're not household names, but they have played very well, especially in recent weeks. Those front men followed by Don Moan, Doug the Tank Landry, and Willie Pless in the linebacking section. In the defensive backfield, Darnell Clash is perhaps the most exciting, the former BC Lion.
This is the first time the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have hosted a division final since 1972, when they lost the Western Final to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And the 87 East Final is underway. The kickoff to Dwight Edwards, and he brings it out to the 45, the 50, and out to the 54-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts. So the Argos will start the game offensively with good field position. Dwight Edwards, a good return of Trevor Kennard's game-opening kickoff.
Well, this great return allows Gilbert Renfro good field position.
Gilbert Renfro, who missed 9 weeks with a knee injury. This is his 4th game since coming back. Darryl Smith in motion on 1st and 10 at the Argo 54. Renfro, quick drop, throws, and it's complete down to the 48-yard line of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to Jeff Smith. That'll be good for about 8 yards for the Argos.
There's a good look at the athletic therapist of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Ross Hodgkinson, wearing shorts. Doesn't start every game. Doesn't matter if it's 60 degrees or below zero.
Now, why do you suppose Ross Hodgkinson is dressed like that?
If you had a home record like Winnipeg, maybe he thinks it's all because of him.
2nd and 2, Argos, Bomber 48, handoff left side, Warren Hudson, and he has the first down out of the 45 of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Big Warren Hudson. Bob Obilovich told us yesterday he thinks Hudson might be one of the best blocking fullbacks in the league today. Has great size. It's 6'2", 2 1/4 from the Oshawa Hawkeye Junior football program. They'll need him today. Take on those big linebackers of the Bombers.
That's Danny Barrett looking on from the sidelines. He is not playing today. John Conjemi, the backup quarterback. Renfro on the Argos. 1st and 10. Bomber 45. Renfro, lots of time. Now he is chased. He fumbles the ball. And the Argos get it back at the Blue Bomber 47, but they will lose a couple of yards.
Well, with the weather being a little bit cooler as it is, the ball on your hand doesn't sit as well as it would on warm weather. So when he starts to run, he's got to make sure that ball comes up close to his chest. The strength of the hand doesn't matter now. That football becomes slippery when it gets colder.
Mark Seal, Michael Gray, and James West all in that play. 2nd down and 12. Argos at their 47. We're just underway in the East Final at Winnipeg Stadium. Sold out Winnipeg Stadium. Renfro. The pocket collapses, and he is down at the 49 of the Blue Bombers.
There's that pressure, James West. Before the game even started, he was talking with defensive coach Joe Moss of the Argonauts. He gets blocked initially by Beckstead, then just closes in when Renfro tries to move upfield coming out of the pocket.
Neil, the first 2 or 3 plays indicate that the field is a little slippery.
You can't push off. You can't be as aggressive with your steps. It's more of a pitter-patter type of running. You even saw West slip a little bit, and that's why Hank Olesic has a broom ball shoe on the left foot.
3rd and 13, Olesic kicking into the wind, and he gets a good one off. Darrell Sampson at the Bombers 6. And he gets out to the 10 and is down there. So for the first time in the game, the Blue Bombers will have the football, and we see some pushing and shoving. Vernon Paul and Don Moen, and we saw a lot of that in the 2 games these 2 teams played to close for the regular season.
Tom Clements, who has a lifetime percentage passing of over 60%, starts his team off at close to the 11-yard line. He'll try to mix it up. Try to set that defense of the Argonauts, a very aggressive defense, back on their heels early, keep them guessing.
Bombers, of course, won the Grey Cup in '84. The Argos in '83. Tom Clements wants to throw the first time he has the ball, and he has Nick Araki up at the 20-yard line for a gain of close to 10 yards.
The scheme, the defensive scheme that the Argos play, they try to force you to throw to the outside and underneath the zone. They play an awful lot of zone even when they blitz. And Tom Clements was telling yesterday, he said it's a low percentage pass, but if we can get Araki and our inside receivers to the outside, we will take advantage of that.
Well, that's one of the things that Tom Clements does better than any quarterback in the CFL, and that's rolling to his left and throwing and getting good zip on the ball. 2nd and 1. It's a reverse to James Murphy. And he's cut down at the 23-yard line. Murphy only gets 4 yards, but that's enough to give the Blue Bombers a first down.
We'll show him a little bit of everything. Mike Riley out of the bag of tricks starts that reverse. That reverse has been successful with Murphy's abilities to run the football as well as catching it. But they have another little twist, and we may see that later in the game. They have a reverse pass off that same play.
Murphy has been out the last 3 weeks with a pulled hamstring. Got a good test there. Appeared to hold up well. Bombers 1st and 10 at their 23. We're 4 minutes into the game. There's no score. Clements, play action, screen to Willard Reeves. And Reeves is up to the 30. Maybe the 31-yard line. Selwyn Drain brings him down. Willard Reeves also back from injury. He's been out 6 weeks handling the ball for the first time.
Question that Willard Reeves was healthy and rested, and that's the key. One of the great plays against the zone defense is you're going to get the linebackers dropping back is run the screen, but there you see Don Moen and Willie Pless. They were more in a man type of coverage there. They were standing beside Reeves when he caught the ball.
The gain of nearly 7, 2nd down and 3. Blue Bombers, the ball just beyond their 30-yard line. That's Araki in motion. Finally throws. Now he wanted to throw the hitch screen, it looked like, to Nick Araki. Pulled up on that and then tried to get it to James Murphy, but it sailed over his head.
Well, to get that hit screen even started, getting out of the hands of the ball to the hand of the quarterback, is you've got to seal that side of the defensive line, not allow any penetration to come upfield. Rodney Harding was able to get by the offensive lineman, get his hands up, and it destroys the play.
And if they did throw the hitch to Nick Araki, that would be a first because it normally goes to a wide receiver. 3rd down and 3. Blue Bombers at their 30. Bob Cameron has the wind with him. It's not that strong, not as strong as it often is here at Winnipeg Stadium. Cameron aiming this one for the sideline, and what a job he did. It goes out of bounds at the Toronto Argonaut 34-yard line. We're just over 5 minutes into the opening quarter. Toronto offensive line coach Ellis Rainsberger meeting with his troops on the sidelines. The Argos have just punted the ball to Winnipeg, and a face masking penalty against Toronto has given the Bombers the ball at the Winnipeg 32-yard line. 1st and 10. 7:50 left, opening quarter. There's no score. Clements to Willard Reeves. And he's out near the 40. Gain of 7 or 8.
One of the questions coming into the game is the left side of that offensive line of the Bombers. Rhoda Huskers at tackle, Black moving from tackle to guard, and Lyle Bauer at center. They come off and do a good job with the help of Pat Cantor at fullback, controlling that offensive line right there, just pushing them off the line of scrimmage. Reeves then gets to do what he does best, get going upfield.
Willard Reeves has handled the ball twice and appears to be back in form. He's been out about 6 weeks, and they were concerned about how he would respond, be a little rusty. Clements on 2nd and 2 won't get it away. He's down back at the 27-yard line by Dan Sellers, who showed his outstanding speed on that play to track down Tom Clements.
Well, Sellers' quickness is what makes this play. Clements, I think, feels he's got to the outside. He's got Willard Reeves in front of him, but Willard Reeves is covered. Just accelerates that angle, cuts off the angle, and makes the tackle.
That's the 2nd time in a row, Neil, the Bombers have had 2nd and short. The last time they had 2nd and 3, this time 2nd and 2, and unable to convert. They'll have to punt 3rd down and 16 to go from their 27. Bob Cameron, with Greg Battle snapping, gets it off, and it's a low kick that will bounce and get a good Winnipeg bounce past Darnell Clash, who goes way back to his own 19-yard line before he finally picks it up, and he's surrounded. Gets up to the 22. So the Argos won't have anywhere near the field position they would have expected. Darnell Clash was injured on that punt return as the ball bounced by him, and again, Neil, he slipped. Clash slipped a little bit after the ball bounced. So this field at Winnipeg Stadium, natural grass, very hard, frozen. They had a tarp on it earlier in the week, but it's still very hard, and it looks to be quite slippery.
The gas heaters on the sideline do help when you come out, especially the guys on special that just play special teams, don't have a chance to get into the game as much as the starters. They'll stand by those heaters, keep the legs warm. Last thing you want to do is have your feet slip up from under you and then pull a groin muscle or a hamstring.
Darnell Clash appears to be all right as he leaves the field under his own power now. The Argos with a football for the 3rd time in the game will start at their 22-yard line. This is their worst field position. Scoreless game, 6.5 minutes left, opening quarter. Gil Finnerty had Blue Bombers in front of him, tried to make a move, and he lost his footing and will lose a yard or 2.
Great Battle playing the middle for an injured Daryl Patterson. They like what they see in Battle. Great mobility in there, just squatting down, letting the running back come to him. He's able to keep his feet. Finnerty tries to make that little jig move and back upfield. Battle just closed it off.
2nd down and 11. Argos, they lose a yard. They're at their 21-yard line. Renfro in the pocket. Throws, and it's batted down by Stan Mikowas.
Mark Seal having a discussion with one of his old teammates, Dan Ferroni. Big play by Mikowas, knocking the ball down. Playing nose guard, moving around.
53 trap.
Tom Clements discussing a play that he's getting from upstairs, or perhaps suggesting to the spotters that he call it. 3rd down and 11. Argos at their 21. Hank Olesic, for the 3rd time in the game, will punt. And he hits a beauty. Sampson back at the Bomber 37 falls and is cut down at the 38-yard line. What a punt by Olesic into the wind. It traveled 52 yards. 5.5 minutes left in the opening quarter.
Whenever you play on the road and it is tied at the end of the 1st quarter, in a way, you're the visiting team, you feel like you won the quarter, especially when the opposition has the number 2 offense in the league, which is led by quarterback Tom Clements. Neither team is really handling the weather or the field conditions very well, and the longer that happens, the more the advantage to the Toronto Argonauts. I remember vividly the confident feeling we had on the sidelines heading into the 2nd quarter. We thought as long as we didn't hurt ourselves, we could win the East and earn a trip to the Grey Cup. The 2nd quarter is coming up right after this.
Outstanding defensive play has played a big role in getting both the Toronto Argonauts and Winnipeg Blue Bombers to this CFL East final, and it certainly showed through in that 1st quarter. A scoreless opening 15 minutes, and the 2nd quarter begins with Rodney Harding back in the game, and the Blue Bombers 2nd down and 6 at the Argo 41. The Roy Bennett interception setting up this good field position. And Kantner, the pass over the middle, and he looks like he has a 1st down.
The Argos defense do not mind giving Winnipeg those passes to their running backs. Their style of defense is to drop Landry, Moen, and Hess back. Because of their quickness, they feel you can throw to those running backs, really not uncovered, but stay behind them, then pursue and get them before they get the first down.
Kantner just got the first down that time. 1st and 10 Bombers. Argo 35. Handoff. Willard Reeves left side. And he's down to the 22 of Toronto.
That running style of Willard Reeves with the shoulders down. Not too fancy with the footwork. He'll make one slide to the left, little cut right there, and get everything going forward. Always going forward.
Willard Reeves with a 14-yard run. The Bombers in scoring range in a scoreless game. 1st and 10. Argo 21-yard line. Clements, lots of time. Finally gets it away to Curry Tuttle. And it's complete at the Argo 14-yard line.
Mike Rowley said he wanted to move Clements around, and he was going to do it as much as he possibly could. And here's a great example. Looks like it's a straight drop back. Then he rolls. He's going to his left. He looks back, and now a quick spin to the backside. He's got me confused. I wonder what the defense is thinking. Then he hits Tuttle just underneath the coverage of the linebackers.
It's a quarterback's dream to have that much time to throw. 2nd down and close to 3. Blue Bombers just inside the 15 of the Argos. Clements to Willard Reeves. And he's down near the 10. And it looks like he has a Blue Bomber first down. Landry and Don Moen made the stop.
Well, Willard Reeves seems to be fully recovered from both a knee injury and a shoulder injury that kept him out the last 3 games here. Good cut right there, back against Quest, but the pursuit of Landry and Moen take away that cutback.
It is a first down. The Blue Bombers at the Toronto 11-yard line. Nearly 3 minutes into the 2nd quarter at Winnipeg Stadium. No score. Clements directing traffic and handing off to Willard Reeves. And he has 5 once again through the middle. This is the kind of running from the Bombers that we didn't see when Lester Brown was playing a running back in the last 2 games.
And I don't think it's that Lester Brown isn't able, and he's a very competent running back, but it's a different style of running back. Look at Willard Reeves. Again, he picks his way through, nothing too fancy. He gets through and finds a seam. He's gone. Lester Brown's more of an outside runner.
2nd and 5 from the 6. The Bombers could get a first down at the 1. Clements throws in the end zone, hits the upright. It was intended for James Murphy, who was well covered by Clash, but it hit the upright, and the Bombers opt to send their field goal team out.
Darnell Clash has to get up in James Murphy's face and do it quickly. Tom Clements had no chance to wait because Kulka, in a defensive stunt, was coming around and came free right up the middle.
I believe that Clements was just throwing that ball away anyway. James Murphy was standing there in the end zone. Looked like Clements was trying to get rid of it. Trevor Kenner will attempt a 13-yard field goal with Bob Cameron to hold. And Kenner puts it up and through. So we have the first points of the Eastern Final, and the Blue Bombers get them 3 minutes and 37 seconds into the 2nd quarter. Trevor Kennard has just kicked a 13-yard field goal for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. First scoring of the CFL East Final. 3 minutes, 37 seconds, the time in the 2nd quarter, and the Argos ask Kennard to kick it off, which he does to Dwight Edwards. And Edwards with a good run back out to the 51 of the Argonauts.
Special teams is a big part of football. Coming down and making the coverage. Daryl Sampson, that's how he made this football team, and he ended up being a starter for most of the year in the defensive secondary. Very valuable part of this Bomber football team.
He looked again, Neil, like he was running downfield rather carefully so as not to lose his footing.
Well, you've got to be tentative in this situation because you want to explode downfield and make the big hit, but you also want to end up in your face, and that's what can happen if you just make the big plant and try to push off. We see where the Argos have started from and how they finished off, and that they've been going backwards as far as field position until this point.
Gilbert Renfro brings them out this time at their 51-yard line. The Argos have the wind in this 2nd quarter. Renfro stumbles and gets the ball away, and but there is a penalty flag back near where the football was nearly caught by the Argos.
Offensive pass interference, Toronto #1.
Daryl Smith is called for offensive pass interference.
Well, that's not a bad call. I think that's a pretty good play. And Bob Bilovich would probably agree when he watches the films, because you don't need an interception right here. Toronto has to move and drive the football, and I think he played it safe there, Smith did, by trying to strip the ball and getting in the way so it couldn't be picked off.
Blue Bombers take the penalty. And they march the football back to the 40-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts. Now they move it up near the 41, which is where it should be. First down and 20, Argos. Renfro again. Big pressure. Renfro looking for a center screen. Has Finnerty, but he's brought down by Fowler and Flagel as he flew across the Argo 45-yard line.
Renfro back. The knees 100%, trying to get used to that brace, but showing some cool there when he's rolling out. Great deal of pressure, but he never takes his focus and attention off where the ball's to be thrown. Finnerty finds the spot on the field. They're still able to hook up, even though he looks like he's running for his life.
Finnerty, a big part of the Argo passing game this year. He caught 53. Second down and 14. Argos, they're at their 47. Renfro to Daryl Smith, complete and out of bounds at the Blue Bomber 49-yard line. Very close to an Argo first down.
Well, there you go. Got to get to the outside. You can't get to the outside unless you get help from your running backs. Shenley nominee, Rookie of the East on Delbert Fowler. Gill the thrill Finnerty. Doesn't have to be pretty, but Fowler wasn't close to the quarterback.
They're going to measure for the first down. The Argos don't have a score in this game yet, Neil, but they have had their moments on offense. Renfro has thrown some very good passes.
Just like any game, I think you've got to start to get into a flow, and it was very choppy for him earlier on in the game. As I said, they were running all different types of plays, play action, running plays, going deep. I don't think they were concentrating too much on one specific or particular area. Now he seems to be into a flow.
24-year-old Gilbert Renfro dueling it out with 34-year-old Tom Clements. Interesting contrast in the quarterbacks today. The measurement shows that the Argos do have a first and 10 at the Blue Bomber 49. Winnipeg leading 3-0, and Renfro with big pressure is able to attempt the pass and save the loss.
Huge pressure. Delbert Fowler's got a cast on his right arm because he's got a broken bone in his hand, but he's been such a big part. Michael Gray on that left defensive end working against Warren Hudson just really comes around. Hudson's going to have to square his body up and meet Gray on the line of scrimmage. You can't give Gray that room to move, because if you give these guys with quickness some room, they'll go around you.
Delbert Fowler comes out and Daryl Sampson is inserted. The Blue Bombers go to 6 defensive backs. The Argos on second and 10. Renfro throwing long for Daryl Smith, and he has it. He's down to the 8-yard line. And he gets up and gets to the 1. They ruled that Smith wasn't down at the 8, and he gets it all the way to the 1-yard line.
Well, there's that defense that Mike Riley told us about, that nickel defense where they take a linebacker out and insert another defensive back. It's Sampson, but now we've got Flagel man-on-man with Smith, and Smith just gets to the outside, gets by Flagel, and then comes back to the football.
Wasn't that some throw by Renfro?
Oh, great throw. Just enough to get it over the shoulder of Flagel and bring Smith back into the inside.
And Daryl Smith is shaken up on that play, and we're going to see a lot of this afternoon. That field is like pavement, and when players get hit and hit the turf the way Daryl Smith did, they're not all going to jump up.
Well, as you said, Bob, that ground is real hard. It rocks you when you hit it, you know. And there's another look at Gray. This time he's on with Prunster, and Prunster just gets the arms out in front of him, keep him to the outside. It's a little bit, the battle's a little bit evener when Gray goes against Prunster, an offensive lineman, because the size, there's not a great size differential, but the running backs have to get up in the face of a blitzing linebacker or a defensive end and really take away that neutral area.
That nickel defense is something new for the Bombers, Neil, with 6 defensive backs, and the way it worked that time, we may not see it again.
O'Reilly said he wanted to throw it in as a twist and try to mess up Renfro in his reads, because that's exactly what it should do. But she said, we might not see it again.
First and goal, Argos. Blue Bomber, 1-yard line. Renfro keeps, and he's in for the touchdown, but there are penalty flags.
Offside, Winnipeg. Touchdown.
Touchdown stands. The Blue Bombers were offside, and the Argos have gone in front.
Renfro sends his backs to the left, trying to get some movement from that second flow of the linebackers. And he just hops over the right side. Randy Ambrosi. Good push by the offensive line.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts, led by Gilbert Renfro, put together a very impressive series of offensive plays. And if Lance Chomick can add the convert, Toronto will lead by 7-3. John Congemi holding. And Chomick, who's been hot lately, makes no mistake. So with 8 minutes and 42 seconds left in the second quarter, Toronto got out in front.
Good look at Tyrone Jones getting those cleats cleaned up. They'll do it every time they come off the field.
And on the field, the Blue Bombers are first and 10 at their 35 after the 73-yard punt single by Hank Olesic. Just Toronto in front 8-3. Here's that hit screen to Jeff Boyd, and he leaps Daniels. Dave Daniels gets an extra yard or two that way, but is down at the 39, and will have a gain of 4 yards.
It's funny that Riley would tell us he doesn't think they've been sticking with that go screen or quick screen enough, and we've seen it 3 times today. Good pursuit, good job of Daniels coming up and forcing him back inside, and there's Kulka and Landry.
2nd and 6, Blue Bombers. They're 39. Opponents with a high percentage passing performance in this first half. The Bombers have a hard time generating points, and this one is no good. Intended for James Murphy in the center field area. But it was nowhere near Murphy or anybody else for that matter.
One of the goals for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Mike Riley in training camp this year was protect their quarterback, Tom Clements. Number 2 is the key to this football team. Willard Reeves takes a fake and has to step up and explode into the linebacker. If he doesn't get position and get below the face mask of that linebacker, that's what happens to you. And he doesn't like it.
Willie Pless exploded into Willard Reeves. He was wondering what happened.
Well, you got to figure Pless has got a 6 or 7 yard run. Reeves has to take that fake and come out, so he's got to be prepared to pop somebody, and he was just a little bit unprepared.
Bob Cameron is shaking his head because the Blue Bombers only have 11 players on the field for this punt. Cameron takes the time count violation penalty. They're moving under 5 yards back, and Benny Thompson was the man guilty of not being out there on the special teams, and that's one of the reasons why he's playing ahead of Ken Haley in this game.
Because of his aggressiveness, his size, and his ability on special teams, and Cameron makes a good move because, you know, he might have been able to get away with it if Toronto was only rushing 10 people, but they have 11 men up and only Darnell Clash back.
3rd and 15, Blue Bombers at their 29, 2:14 left, first half. Argos lead 8-3. Cameron's kick into the wind, short, but he gets a good bounce out of it. Clash at the Argo 50, and he runs out of bounds back at the 43-yard line of Toronto, which I don't imagine would please Bob Obilovich.
I think in a situation, unless you get a clean return, as Bob Cameron shakes his head, not happy with the way he's been kicking the ball, I don't think, up to this point. You might as well play it safe and just go straight ahead and protect yourselves, get down on the ground, and make sure you don't get a chance to lose or get the ball stripped, and give your offense good field or the best field position possible.
Clements is 10 of 15. Renfro, as you can see, 8 of 14, but bigger yardage for Gilbert Renfro, over 150 yards. And he and the Argos will start from their 43-yard line with a 1st and 10. And it's a screen to Hudson. He is cut down by James West at the 43 or 44. West, the Eastern Shenley finalist, is outstanding defensive player.
Boy, West's ability to read what's going on in the backfield while he's dropping back, and that's what he's doing. He's back downfield and then just come upfield with a vengeance.
Argos gain maybe half a yard on that. second down and 10 from the Toronto 43.5. Renfro, good time, throws, knocked away by Petway, intended for Pearson, down at the Winnipeg 25.
Here's a case where both the offensive player and the defensive player have good position. It's up to the throw. And I don't know how you can get much better than this. Petway's got great position. Pearson's working to the inside, waiting for the ball to be led. Petway just gets that left arm up and knocks it away. Good defensive play.
Rookie Ken Petway, he and Benny Thompson, the defensive halfbacks for the Blue Bombers today. All-star Ken Haley sitting out. Haley could play, but the Winnipeg coaching staff feel they're better off with Thompson and Petway.
Well, when it comes down to games like this, in conditions like this, it's best to have the special teams or a strong group of special team players, and that's where he feels that Thompson excels not only there, but in the defensive secondary, and has been getting better and better every time he's played, so he's on a roll, we admit.
3rd and 10, Argos at their 43, a minute and a half left. First half, Toronto leading by 5, and Hank Olesic punting. It's a short kick, but he'll get a bounce out of it. And Vernon Paul scoops it up at the 30 of Winnipeg and is back to the 33 or 34. So with 1:26 to go in the first half, Blue Bombers get the football back. Vernon Paul wants a no yards penalty, undoubtedly. Tom Clements and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers trailing 8-3. First and 10, Willard Reeves carrying the ball, and he pops through the middle to the 37 or 38 of the Blue Bombers, a gain of close to 5.
It was interesting when we were talking with Mike Riley, knowing that Willard Reeves' shoulder was fine and he's got a knee brace on, the knee's supposed to be 100%, but mentally was he ready to get in there and take a shot? You know, everyone has a way of preparing themselves differently and reacts differently to injuries. He practiced well, and it looks like the way he's running the football that there aren't any problems.
Second and 5 or 6 for the Blue Bombers. Clements' throw is intended for Tuttle, but it's way over his head along the sidelines. And you can perhaps hear a rumbling of discontent among the fans at Winnipeg Stadium as the Argonauts have played an outstanding defensive first half and have shut the Blue Bombers' wanted offense down.
Well, fans want a reason to get warm, jump up and down, and have some fun. And this normally explosive offense has been really controlled by this aggressive. I guess the best way to describe this young Argonaut defense is aggressive.
Argos have won 7 of their last 8 games. That includes the Eastern semifinal win over Hamilton last week. One of the major reasons, their defensive play, and lots of evidence of that this afternoon. Bob Cameron kicking on 3rd down, gets a good one off. Clash at the 35. And he can't get his footing and is pinned at the 36 by Benny Thompson. 53 seconds left in the first half.
That's a much better kick by Cameron. I'm sure he's pleased. The man who's made his living kicking in Winnipeg has got to be a good kicker because he's seen all sorts of conditions, works very hard at kicking into the wind, and that showed right there. Nice tight spiral, sends the ball downfield.
That was a 38-yard punt. Cameron figures that in 9 of the Bombers' regular season home games this year, 7 of them, the win was a major factor. Not as big a factor this afternoon. It's favoring the Argos in the second quarter, and the pass for Thomas is no good at the 43, although Renfro put it right on the money.
The more I watch Renfro stand back in the pocket, and though he doesn't look, physically he looks bigger to me in the pocket. He's only 6'1", 195 pounds, and Bob Wabilovich told us earlier on in the year when we watched him at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, he reminds him of Warren Moon, and he really does, the way he stands in the pocket and looks downfield.
Second and 10. Argos at their 36. Throws for Thomas, no good. Roy Bennett with a cover.
Thomas trying to get some footing coming back to the football to help out his quarterback, but we see some signs of pressure closing in, collapsing that pocket. And then once again, it's Michael Gray from that left defensive end spot.
And once again, we see Hank Olesic, who is having a very solid afternoon. Olesic on 3rd and 10 from the Argo 36. And he gets another towering punt away. Petway at the 25. left in the opening half. Tom Clements getting some last-minute instruction as to what he should attempt to do in this last half minute.
Is this a situation where you go in with the 33 seconds left and say we're going to be conservative? We might try to throw the football, but we'll throw it short and then regroup at halftime, make the adjustments. What do you think?
We'll know in a few seconds. I'd throw it long. No, I'd throw it long. Why not? But they are going to stay conservative and give it to Willard Reeves, who gets about 3 or 4 yards. 32 or 33. 29 seconds left now in the first half. A half that has been dominated by the defensive teams, most particularly by Toronto's defense.
Willard Reeves might be the only running back around that is wearing 2 knee braces, and not just the little support braces, but the full-fledged braces. I wonder how he can run it.
There's the toss to Reeves on second down. And he powers out to the 39 of the Blue Bombers. He'll come up just short of a first down with 5 seconds left on the clock.
Thinking they might get a chance to get the ball back. We call a timeout. 5 seconds left in the first half. Bob Obilovich has to be pleased by the way his team has responded today. The defense always aggressive, turning them loose. The offense starting to get into a routine. Renfro throwing the ball. You know, and we talked about this yesterday. Can they maintain the intensity? Winnipeg's been off for 2 weeks. They've been dying to play some football, whereas Toronto's with 2 intense games, finished the season with Winnipeg, then in a battle with the Tiger Cats. They've sort of been on a roll. Tom Clements and the rest of them have just been waiting to get back in the football game. Is this first half just an example of the lull, the letdown that they've had, having not played?
I'm a little surprised at this decision, Neil. It's 3rd down and a yard. Blue Bombers at their 39, 5 seconds left. Clements keeps and gets the first down out across the 40 to the 41. I said I was surprised only because if the Bombers didn't make the first down, and Toronto with 3 seconds still on the clock would have had a shot at kicking a field goal, but they gambled and they got the first down. Their other option, of course, was to punt. And Mike Riley obviously decided he didn't want any part of that, and the possibility of a block punt.
Well, they're going to keep that short yardage team in there. Tyrone Jones is in there playing tight end. Ed McQuarters Jr.
James Murphy back as a safety in case there's a bad snap or a fumble or something, but none of that. Clements takes the ball and kneels, and 32,900 at sold-out Winnipeg Stadium are extremely quiet as the Argos take a 5-point lead to their dressing room.
The best part of halftime in this game was going to the locker room because it was the only warm place in the stadium. By now, the players have adjusted to the conditions, but surprisingly, Winnipeg can only score 3 points in the first half after scoring 554 in the regular season. The feeling for Toronto in the locker room was, hey, if we get 1 turnover on defense, our next game would be the Grey Cup. Going into the third, we knew the field would be more difficult to move on. Therefore, it would come down to simple plays and toughness. The third quarter is coming up after the break.
One of the things as we look at Tom Clements that Gil Finnerty said the Argos had to do today was take the crowd out of the game, and they certainly did that in the second quarter. Toronto dominating the second quarter, and they will kick off to start the second half. Alesic doing the kickoff, and it goes out of bounds at the Blue Bomber 39-yard line, a twisting type of boot by Alesic that the Argos very nearly got down to touch before it went out of bounds.
Interesting to see Hank Alesic with his glasses on. He wears glasses normally just for reading. I didn't.
Offside, Toronto number 13.
I guess they help him place those kickoffs as precisely as he placed that one into a pocket and squirming toward the sidelines. As I say, the Argos very nearly grabbed that ball before it went out of bounds, but it did go out, and Alesic will have to kick off again from the Toronto 30 this time.
This year, having the kickoffs spot move back from to the 30, from the 45 to the 35, has made a lot of difference in the way people have kicked off. The only one I think that can compensate for it is Hank Alesic because of his strong leg.
Well, we'll see what Alesic tries this time. Will he boom it deep?
that on the first kickoff, as you said, nearly ripped Jeff Boyd's head off.
Bombers have the win in this third quarter. They trail 8-3. Tom Clements completing more than 60% of his passes in the first half, but for only 75 yards. And up Willard Reeves. And he'll get 3 or 4 very, very tough yards through that middle.
We're seeing a different look on the Argos front four, or should I say front three. Usually they line up Dan Sellers, Gerald Bayless, Rodney Harding, and Glenn Kilka, but they like to use Sellers like Winnipeg likes to use Tyrone Jones, move him around, and on that, in the last play, he was lined up as a linebacker.
Second down, Blue Bombers, and 7 yards to go. The football at their 48-yard line. Clements has time and has Nick Araki, who gets away from one man and is into Toronto territory all the way down to the yard line.
Araki could work out to be a very important part of this offense as this afternoon goes on. The Argonauts from the wide side of the field, blitz halfback, Selwyn Drain. That's going to leave an area. Look at Landry trying to run over to fill that area, but Araki gets to that flat before Jake Bond can come over and make the coverage. And Araki, nice little straight arm and good block on Darnell Clash. He gets upfield.
Blocked by Jeff Boyd. This is Willard Reeves on first down, and Polka grabs him just as he crossed the line of scrimmage, stopping Reeves for a gain of 1 yard, maybe 2. That defensive front of the Argos has been very, very good so far today.
They've got great size and great mobility. Oftentimes you get the big fellas up front that can't move. That's the one thing that these guys can do. Big, strong, and are very mobile.
Second and 9, Bombers. Argo 43. Boyd wide right. Murphy splits left. Tuttle is also right. So is Araki. Clements is running for his life. Sellers has him way back at the 45-yard line of the Blue Bombers. Big defensive play for the Argos, taking the Bombers completely out of scoring territory.
Again, we get to see Sellers in that great speed. Landry up front takes away the running back. Now there's no one there to take the outside because the offensive line has all stepped down to take it the way the blitz from the inside. Sellers comes free on the outside.
Did you say the Bombers didn't block that very well?
Well, what the Argos looked like there was Winnipeg during the season, confusing an offense.
And the snap to Bob Cameron bounces, and he gets away his best kick of the afternoon. Flash back at the Argo 19. Gets away from one Blue Bomber, but that'll be it. Benny Thompson very aggressively hauls him down back around the 13 or 14-yard line.
An aggressive tackle by Benny Thompson, close to being a head tackle. We've seen a few of those, Kulka and Willard Reeves. I think that's the type of thing that might set this game off into a real battle in that type of hitting.
That's a 49-yard punt by Bob Cameron.
Big sacks, though. I mean, it's one thing to sack a quarterback, it's another thing to send it back 15 or 20 yards, as Sellers did to Tom Clements.
The Argos leading 8-3 in the CFL East Final. 2.5 minutes into the second half. Toronto with the football for the first time. First and 10 of their 19. Renfro to toss to Finnerty. And Finnerty has a good opening, and he's out across the 30 to the 31 or 32.
Finnerty taking that pitch under control. He realizes he can't afford to slip. Warren Hudson out in front. Boom, good block right there on Gray to kick to the outside. Finnerty comes straight up the gap. Nothing fancy, but he'll get that yards going straight ahead.
11-yard run by Gil Finnerty. Argos with a first and 10 of their 31-yard line. Finnerty the other way this time. Flag goes down as Finnerty gets out near the 35-yard line.
Toronto number 37.
Warren Hudson is caught for holding in the Argo backfield.
But once again, Hudson's the lead blocker coming sweep left. You'll see him just in motion right there. He'll block once again Michael Gray, but that right arm wrapped around behind the leg. Gray probably would have gone down anyways, but that's just a little bit too much effort there. That's a tackle.
just wanting to make sure it was Hudson that Gray didn't get involved in the play, and it cost the Argos 10 yards. All back at their 21. They'll be first and 20. 8-3, Toronto leading in front of a sellout crowd of 32,946 at Winnipeg Stadium. Renfro, lots of time for Daryl Smith, and it's tipped away and nearly picked off by James West.
Throwing into a crowd. West backing up into his zone area. Smith doesn't, I think he could go a little bit further. Got to get both of those arms up. He's expecting Flegel to knock his chops out. The ball almost bounces right into West's hands.
A lot of Blue Bombers where that football was thrown that time. Second down and 20. Argos from their 21-yard line. Dwight Edwards in the game, and he splits wide left with Daryl Smith. Renfro throws over the middle. Smith has it out to the 40-yard line of Toronto. A yard short of an Argo first down.
Good read by both Smith and Renfro.
It up at the 41. It looked to me like the official put his foot down at the 40, but now they spotted at the 41, so that'll be very close to a Toronto first down. And Daryl Smith has been a big factor in this game.
Certainly has. If they keep making the reads like they did there, you see how close they really are to a first down. It's the best way to take the sting out of a defense, an aggressive defense like the Bombers, is be successful when they're going to blitz, when they're going to come after you. And Bob Obilovich has worked diligently with his quarterbacks to pick up the reads, to recognize when they're blitzing. Last time they blitzed, Flegel left the middle open. Smith makes the catch.
Third down and inches. Argos at their 41. Renfro keeping, trying to go underneath. He did not get much, but he probably got enough to get the first down.
Lots of traction. You'd want to get down and behind one of your big linemen and push away, and you've got nothing for those cleats on the shoe to bite into. Makes it tough.
They will measure it again. And the Argos do have the first down just beyond their 41. You know, the interesting thing is, without Ken Joyner, the Bombers knew that Daryl Smith was the man that could hurt them. And certainly they've built their defense around stopping him, and yet the Argos have been able to work Smith.
And success with Gene Thomas earlier on makes them realize he's a legitimate receiver too. You can't forget about it.
First and 10 Toronto. They lead 8-3, 10 minutes left, third quarter. Renfro has Pearson this time, and he's thrown out of bounds, but not before. He advances the ball close to 8 yards.
Defensive back Benny Thompson is down on the field.
Looks like he's favoring his right hand or right arm.
Receiving attention from Ross Hodgkinson, the trainer, who with long pants on.
Hi, Rez. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dred. You got your message through. Benny Thompson is disturbed, giving one of the officials an earful.
I think he's downright hot.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, well, he's hot.
Holding his stomach then as he left the field. Just appears to be winded.
Well, those receivers downfield will take shots at you.
Daryl Sampson in to replace Thompson. Argos second and 4. The ball at their 48-yard line. Renfro to Johns. Tony Johns in the game. It's to the 51. Close to a Toronto first down.
Argos with great flexibility and the talent they have in the backfield. Both Warren Hudson and Johns can run out of fullback or halfback spot. And of course, the rookie of the year in the East, Gil Fennerty, can be so effective. So they've got a few weapons in that backfield.
And once again, they measure. It's second down for Toronto. I should make that third down. And they'll have about a foot to go. Benny Thompson back in the game. Again, Neil, we have to praise that Argo offensive line. They're making the running game go now. They've protected Renfro reasonably well most of the game.
first down.
Well, the situation that Bob Obilovich would like to be in for the rest of the afternoon is what they're doing right now. 2nd and 3rd and 1 and 2 inches. Because that really allows your offense to control defense and what goes on in the field.
Argos, 1st and 10 of their 52. Renfro with big pressure gets the ball off, complete to Finnerty. Fowler hauls him down, but Finnerty gets to the Bomber 49, and once again he's within a yard of a Toronto first down.
Yeah, but Delbert Fowler, who's played a big part in this defense, more so than he did the year prior because he's a big blitzer. Renfro gets the ball in the face of West blitzing. He's able to get out and cover Finnerty. Great range does Delbert Fowler have. Cast or no cast.
Well, I talked before the game about the comparison in the quarterbacking situations here, but Gilbert Renfro has done some job this afternoon. Argos leading 8-3, 8 minutes left, 3rd quarter, and Toronto using up time as they work into the wind in the 3rd quarter. On 2nd and a little bit, Johns carries, gets a little bit, but he might have a first down. Once again, they'll probably have to measure.
Not only are they moving the ball downfield, they're chewing up valuable seconds. Seconds that Mike Riley wanted to have with the wind behind him.
And once again, they're going to come up 3rd down and inches. But this is exactly what Bob Obilovich would want going into the wind. A time-consuming drive where you're running off lots of plays, keeping the ball in play and in control, and it's just a very, very impressive drive by the Argos.
Mike Riley signaling to his defense. He sees something that makes him believe the Argonauts are going to throw the ball in this situation. I don't know, 3rd down and 1. I'd keep it on the ground.
See what Renfro does. Now he is going to keep it. And diving off the left side, gets a Toronto first down. 7:28 left, 3rd quarter. Argos leading the Blue Bombers 8-3. The winner advances to the Grey Cup game next Sunday in Vancouver. Barry Tuttle and members of the Blue Bomber offense trying to stay warm.
Well, this drive accomplishes a lot of things. Takes the time away from it with the wind behind them, chews up the clock. It gets the offense very cold. It's tough to get the momentum back, get things rolling when you stand around for 6 or 7 minutes at a time.
Renfro throws on first down. It's complete. Paul Pearson makes the catch, and Roy Bennett very quickly makes the tackle. Gain of 4 or 5 yards.
That's great. Tough to sneak up on anybody, though, wouldn't it?
Well, we see all sorts of different clothing and efforts to stay warm here this afternoon, but nothing quite like that.
He'd be a popular guy if they were all full.
2nd and 6, Renfro will throw. He just got it off with Michael Gray all over him. It falls incomplete. And the Argonauts, after eating up a lot of minutes on the clock, are going to have to give the ball back to Winnipeg.
Michael Gray trying to inject some enthusiasm into a Winnipeg football team that seems to be standing around and waiting for somebody else to do it. Starts off for good protection. They're not bringing everybody, but Gray pushing back. Prudster getting in the face of Renfro and then introducing him to the ground. They have to get some fire back, and whether it's on defense or special teams or offense, somebody's got to do it.
3rd and 6, Argos, Bomber 44, Olesic to punt. Into the wing. That hasn't bothered him all day this time. He gets a poor one off. His worst kick of the day. It comes way back upfield. The Bombers scoop it up and are up to their 31 or 32. Let's see now. There's some discussion as to who has the ball, but it's Winnipeg football. 5:54 left, 3rd quarter. Argos lead by 5. It is Toronto Argonaut football, and here's why, Neil.
A short kick. Roy Bennett feels Olesic coming up. He goes to make the play. He fumbles the ball, and the ball goes to the Argos, but was it no yards?
Well, the Argos were certainly within 5 yards on that, but Toronto has the football at the Blue Bomber 30-yard line. Covering
See the look in Benny Thompson's eyes. Stare right through you right now. It's starting to get a little bit ugly along the offensive and defensive line. They're throwing some people around. The tempo's picking up.
Argos at the Bomber 30 on 2nd and 10. Renfro is hit just as he tried to throw the ball, and it drops incomplete. Michael Gray making the contact.
Once again, Gray's trying to do what he can to fire up. They're blitzing from the backside. Halfback Ken Petway. Here he comes. I think it was his left arm reaching around Michael Gray that just wasn't able to, or enabled him to get his hand on the right arm of Renfro before he threw the ball.
Lance Chomick has been red hot. He will attempt his first field goal of this game. He's made 15 of his last 17 over the last 3 games. This will be a 37-yarder into the wind, and Chomick hits it very poorly. The ball hits the upright. Is fielded in the end zone by Ken Petway, but Lance Chomick, who has been the hottest kicker in the CFL, hit that one very poorly. The Argonauts get a point out of it, and with 4:55 left in the third quarter, they expand their lead to 6 points.
It's 5 a.m. and you've tried every pillow trick you know. The stack, the flip, even the triple-double. Yet you still wake up with neck pain, back pain, and zombie brain. It's time to break your sleepless cycle with Nuzzle, the NASA-inspired pillow that provides zero-gravity support. The secret is thousands of nano-coil fibers. Each one pushes against gravity at the microscopic level to gently support your neck and cradle your head for a feeling of plush weightlessness. But here's something you'll only get with Nuzzle. It's the world's first and only pillow that has 2 adjustable inner layers that adapt to how you like to sleep. For stomach sleepers, the slim layer provides just the right amount of softness and support. For back sleepers, the medium layer maintains straight spinal alignment. And for side sleepers, both layers combine to provide the maximum support, so you wake up pain-free and happy.
It is so super soft and supportive to my neck and back.
With the Nuzzle pillow, I can have soft, medium, or firm all in one pillow.
Nuzzle has been vigorously lab tested and is proven to hold its shape, not just during the honeymoon phase, but for 1,001 nights and days. Plus, Nuzzle is 100% machine washable. And here's the coolest thing about Nuzzle. It's made from the same phase change fabric NASA uses in real spacesuits to regulate an astronaut's temperature. When you get hot, Nuzzle automatically responds by cooling itself off, so you're always at the optimal temperature. During this special TV offer, you can get your Nuzzle pillow for the factory direct price of just $99.99. But wait, for everyone who orders right now, we'll give you an instant 50% discount. That's just $49.99. Plus, it comes with a Nuzzle 90-day money-back guarantee.
Call 1-800-713-8635 or log on to buynuzzle.ca. Order now.
Lance Chomick attempted a field goal but didn't quite make it to the tee. He's got a broom ball shoe on that left foot, but the plant before he went down, the all-important foot to stabilize him, slid, didn't get all the ball.
And the Argos got a single out of it. They now lead 9-3, 4:50 left, third quarter. Willard Reeves on a first down play, and he pops across the 40 to the 41. He'll have a 6-yard gain. Out some muscles in his right leg.
And that field goal that didn't quite make it. See Petway just go down on one knee and then come up holding the back of the right leg.
2nd and 4. Clements for Jeff Boyd drops the ball. 53-yard line of Winnipeg. Clements couldn't have thrown that one any better. And that's the second blatant drop the Bombers have had today. And in a game of this nature, those can be very, very critical.
They'll be frustrating, as you said, the second one, the first one earlier on in the first half by Murphy. Again, a big play would have given them a first down in Argo territory. They dropped that one too.
Get in there, Darryl. And the Bombers showed their frustration after that play on the field as they trailed by 6 and can't seem to make anything work for them. 3rd and 4. Cameron the punt, and he has a low spiral that Clash chases tosses down way over at the 20 of Toronto, and he has very little choice but to step out of bounds at the 24. 3:50 left, third quarter, the Eastern Final, in Toronto leading by 6. Well, if you were searching for a look of concern, you could find any number of them here at Winnipeg Stadium right now as the Blue Bombers trail the Toronto Argonauts by 6 points in the CFL East Final. 3:50 left, third quarter. Argos after a Bob Cameron punt, our first and 10 at their 22.5-yard line. Renfro has gone all the way at quarterback. He has the game's only touchdown. And he tosses to Gil Finnerty. Finnerty picks up 6 or 7 around that left side.
Well, to get around on a sweep, and this is about the 5th time they've run that play, a power sweep. Got to have the front control on the front side of the line. Schultz stepping around Fowler and sealing West off. Ferroni pushing people downfield. Turns into a street fight when it gets into that situation. He's got to knock some people down and keep going.
Finnerty is more known as a nifty slick runner, but he's run tough this afternoon, Neil.
He's run smart, too.
2nd and 4 Argos at their 29. Renfro for Johns, and he's going to get a Toronto first down. Up to the Argo 36-yard line.
Well, that play didn't look like it was going to go anywhere, the way the Winnipeg Blue Bombers reacted on defense. But again, big plays come up from their offensive lineman. Dan Ferroni comes out in front and makes that play go. That's why he's all-star.
That's right. Renfro brings the Argos out with a first and 10 at their 36.5. 2:25 left, third quarter. Renfro throws. Pearson is wide open, and he'll take this one across center field into the Blue Bomber 54-yard line. Mike Riley's first ever playoff team, of course, as a head coach. That's Bob Padilla, one of the assistants beside him. Riley told us that he's had more fun in the last 2 weeks than at any time in his coaching career because of the way his team has practiced and been enthusiastic and all the rest of it. I don't know if he's having a lot of fun right now.
And he won't remember that fun if they don't come out of this game a winner.
Finnerty on first down has a big hole and gets to the Blue Bomber 43-yard line, 11-yard gallop.
Again, straight up the field, a check step to the right, then he gets parallel and goes right up. Tucks that ball away. That's held tight to the chest. With the fingertips over the end of the ball.
They say these games are won in the trenches. The Argos are winning that battle right now. First and 10 at the Blue Bomber, 42.5. A minute 10 left, third quarter. Renfro, after hesitating, tosses to Finnerty. He's tripped up as he crossed the 40 and got in near the 39-yard line.
Bit of a double pump by Renfro to get Finnerty the ball as Willard Reeves looks on across the field. A little bit of a scuffle going on by the Argos bench.
Bombers have had a hard time getting any offense going in this third quarter, Neil, but they've also had a hard time getting their hands on the football. I think the Bombers have only had the ball twice in the third quarter. Toronto has really controlled the football. Argos looking at a 2nd down and 7 at the Bomber 39.5. Renfro, short drop. Darrell Smith has it. The 25 gets away from Petway down to the 20-yard line. Darrell Smith, having some game, gives Toronto yet another big play.
Smith getting inside position once again. Aggressive defense. Scott Flagle's on the right side. He'll almost make the hit after West, but the middle is open because it's been vacated by a blitzing Scott Flagle. Smith makes the adjustment, gets inside of Petway.
Smith, 6 catches, 130 yards, and some superlative throws by Gilbert Renfro, who looks for Smith again but won't get him this time. Down at the 11-yard line of Winnipeg, and that play will end the third quarter. The Argos will now have the wind in the fourth quarter, and they also have a 6-point lead. The CFL East Final through 3 quarters has been a rugged defensive struggle, with the Toronto Argonauts holding the upper hand as the fourth quarter begins. Toronto leading 9-3 and sitting at the Blue Bomber 20-yard line. Dwight Edwards into the game for Gene Thomas, and he splits wide right. Jeff Smith to the left with Darrell Smith. And Renfro looks in the end zone for Pearson, and he can't catch up to it. Ken Petway with the coverage. Renfro's been intercepted once today, but in the last 7 games the Argos have played, they've been intercepted twice, and all season long they only had 19 passes picked off.
It's a real credit too, because they started the year young quarterbacks and quarterbacks that haven't been around as much. Have a tendency to throw some interceptions, with Chomik still with that broom ball shoe in the left foot.
3rd and 10, a 27-yard field goal attempt by Lance Chomik, and it is through there. And the Argos make it 12-3. And a 9-point lead has to feel a lot more comfortable to Bob Obilovich than did a 6-point lead.
There's still a whole quarter to go, and it could come down to some crucial plays. A very deliberate approach by Chomik, not striding out as much, not reaching, but putting the foot down instead of stepping ahead.
Tom Clements in the Bomber offense under the gun now. Clements has pressure, gets it away to Willard Reeves at the 41, and he fights to the 45. He'll have a 10-yard gain, very close to a Bomber first down.
There you go, that's what you need. Tom Clements doing a little bit of freelance, rolling out of the pocket, having his receivers adjust to the situation. Maybe that's what they weren't doing in the first half. Willard Reeves finds an opening for Tom Clements to throw the ball to him.
2nd down, Blue Bombers, and about a foot to go. And Clements wants to put it up and won't get it off. Back at his 38-yard line, Kolka sacked him back there. You'll often see teams pass on 2nd and inches.
Well, Glenn Kolka comes off and then stops, lets the tackle lean ahead and then goes around him. Rhoda Huskers goes for the big hit. Kolka backs off a little bit. Just quickness gets around to the outside shoulder, makes the sack.
Clements appeared confused, too. He was staying out there. I don't know if he didn't realize it was 2nd down, that last play, or not. He waved the players off the field. Maybe he just wanted to go for it. But on 3rd and 6, the Blue Bombers will have to punt. As we're going to say, that 2nd and inches pass is good, as long as you don't get sacked. So Bob Cameron is called on once again, and he's kicking into the wind now. And he gets an outstanding put away. Flash back at the 29, and he won't find any room at all. Benny Thompson down there. You've been in 12 minutes, 59 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Well, the Toronto Argonauts are very close to being number 1 in the East. They laid the Blue Bombers 12-3 in the East final with 12 minutes and 45 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Renfro to Finnerty on a short pass. West has him after a gain of 4 or 5.
Well, they could feel it. Before the break, I was watching the Argonaut bench, and they were all had 4 fingers held up. They say, 1 more quarter, it's ours. Good job by Kelvin Prunster's getting Gray to go to the outside, and then Finnerty just slides up inside, but that pursuit again. The Bomber defense is not backing off.
2nd down and 6 for the Argos at their 33. Renfro to throw, and it's no good. Up at the 39, Thompson. Good close coverage on Jeff Smith. And the fans here at the stadium finally have something to cheer about.
Well, the Bombers went to that nickel. The last time we saw it, they got burned. This time it worked well. Almost triple coverage on Smith downfield. Renfro tried to get the ball into Pearson, but Thompson comes up with a big play and a big hit.
The Toronto Argonauts had the football in the 3rd quarter for over 11 minutes. Time of possession, 11 plus for Toronto. 11:05 to be precise, and that really is ball control football at its finest. Lesick had to hold on a high snap to get this one off, and Darrell Sampson has it, and he nearly lost it adjusted as he crossed the 35 up to the 37. Tom Clements will once again try to get that Winnipeg offense going. They have had a very, very tough afternoon. As that picture on your screen will tell you, it's the last 7 possessions they've had, and none of them have been productive. That's a testimony to the Argo defense as much as anything else. Clements over the middle, has a man open. It's complete to Murphy, and he's down at the Argo 54-yard line. But it's a gain of 19 yards for the Blue Bombers.
We give credit to that Argo defense. A couple of the drives by Clements have been stalled by drop passes, but not this time. Murphy over the middle, taking advantage of that open gap in front of Jake Vaughn, the safety. I'm sorry, I was just going. Now they're going into a hurry-up offense.
I apologize, Neil. Bombers like to do this when they're struggling on offense. They like to keep things going. A quick toss over the middle to Willard Reeves will get them 4 or 5 yards.
Oh, we've seen it work before. It's a way to grasp some intensity and the momentum. Where you see the linebackers just taking a drop back, letting things happen in front of them, and then Don Bowen comes up and lays a stick on Reeves.
Second down and 5. Blue Bombers. Argo 49.5. That's a draw to Willard Reeves, and he gets to the 39 of Toronto. First down, Bombers.
Motion is not unusual for the Winnipeg offense, but this is a little bit different. Watch him stop between the guard and tackle. He'll come up and block and seal right there. Pushes Landry out. Willard Reeves reads that and the rest of the blocks and hits it straight upfield.
And the crowd has come to life. Bombers first and 10, Argo 39.5. Clements had his receiver fall, and the ball is picked off by Jake Vaughn, who was flat on his back down at the 18-yard line.
Barry Tuttle comes back. Clements has good protection. When Tuttle starts to come back to the football, again, as we've seen it this afternoon, he makes a plan and goes down, but the man covering him, Vaughn behind him, is also on his back. Watch this. I mean, he might not be able to do that if he tried to throw it downfield. When it's going for you, it's going for you.
And once again, 32,900 plus at Winnipeg Stadium become rather quiet as the Argos have snuffed out a Winnipeg thrust, get the ball back at their 18-yard line. Gilbert Renfro, I don't know if this is a quarterback draw or not, but that's what it turned out to be. And Renfro got 3 or 4 yards out of it.
I think that last spurt from the Winnipeg offense showed the fans here that they can still explode at any time.
12-3, Toronto in front. 8 minutes, 50 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Argos second down and 6.5 or 7 from their 22-yard line. Renfro gets it off to Pearson. 25, first down to the 30 and up to the 31-yard line. I can't say enough about the game that Gilbert Renfro has played here this afternoon.
Is that you?
Oh, you're right. Pearson gets out into the flat. Renfro has the ability to throw the ball downfield, but he can't. If he doesn't get the protection by both his backs and his offensive line, he can't do that. Today, he's getting exactly that.
Argos first and 10 of their 31. Clock down to 8 minutes. Toss to Finnerty, right side. And he follows his blockers very well and gets a 4-yard gain out to the.
Another sweep to the short to wide side of the field this time. Good play by Roy Bennett. You see Hudson in front. Bennett takes Thomas and pushes him back and doesn't give a side one way or the other. Finnerty has no way to cut that way. Good defense by Bennett.
Second and 6. Argos. Football at their 35-yard line. Finnerty 9 carries for 49 yards in this game. Renfro sprinting left. West giving chase. Renfro gets away from him. Jones at the 41-yard line of Toronto. Very close to an Argo first down. Looks like he has it.
Well, that nickel defense might be doing what Mike Raleigh had wanted to right now. Fowler had come out. Sampson had gone in, and Renfro, though he was running, it seemed like for his life, had a chance to look downfield quickly and didn't recognize anything. James West forcing him and pushing him out of bounds with the help of Benny Thompson.
Another Bomber who was pursuing him out of bounds was Tyrone Jones, and we haven't seen a lot of number 35 today, have we?
No, we haven't.
Argos first and 10 at their 41. Controlling the ball again and eating up time. Gil Finnerty. Good run out to the 52 or 53 of Toronto. Another Argonaut first down.
Again, a sweep to the short side of the field. The offensive linemen are coming off and getting pieces of people downfield, and the key block by the fullback right here, Hudson. Boom. Spin him around and knock him down.
Now the running backs who normally carry the football have both had pretty good days today. John's carrying this time, and he finds some room across center field and into the Bomber 51 or 52-yard line. 5 or 6 yards for Tony Johns, and the clock keeps running, and it's down to 6:05 left in the fourth quarter. Argos leading 12-3.
See Warren Hudson coming back in for Johns at the fullback spot, bringing a play in from the sidelines.
Second down and 4 Argos. Blue Bomber 51-yard line. Renfro fakes, throws. Darrell Smith, who has performed a number of wonderful exploits downfield, catching footballs today, unable to get turned around to grab that one.
Well, again, they've done a pretty good job on the clock and got themselves in a good position to kick the ball away and try to pin Winnipeg back in their own end inside the 10 or 15-yard line.
5.5 minutes left, fourth quarter. 3rd and 4 Argos at the Bomber 51. It's a poor kick, but he'll get a good bounce out of it down to the 10-yard line at Darrell Sampson. And Sampson fumbles at the 20, and the Argos have it at the Blue Bomber 14-yard line. Toronto Argonauts with a 9-point lead have the football with 5 minutes and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Darrell Sampson trying to run back a Hank Olesic punt is hit by Selwyn Drain. The ball pops out, and the Argos get it at the Blue Bomber 15-yard line with 5:10 left in the fourth quarter. Toronto up by 9 and with a chance to pretty much put it away if they can take it into the end zone from here. And here's Finnerty down near the 5. Finnerty close to an Argo first down.
Finnerty leaving a trail of Winnipeg bodies on the field thanks to some good blocking up front by Warren Hudson, and another good job or a good effort by the offensive line getting out. Knocking people off, knocking them down, knocking them out of the way. They've just been doing everything to this Winnipeg defense today.
4 minutes, 20 seconds left. Argos will be second and a yard at the Bomber 6. Johns carrying, good hold, gets down to the 1-yard line with 4:13 left and the clock running.
Tony Johns with a nifty little move coming back behind the center after he takes the handoff, finding that opening and picking his way through.
First and goal for the Toronto Argonauts at the Blue Bomber 1-yard line. Renfro to Johns, and he's in easily, and Toronto goes in front by 18-3 with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left. And how about this? The fact that Toronto might win this game certainly was a real possibility, but Neil, they have manhandled the Blue Bombers for much of this game, particularly in the second half.
Well, coming into the game, they looked very even. Both defenses played extremely well all year, very aggressive, but everyone was leaning to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, their offense, their experience, their explosiveness. The coins flipped this afternoon.
Lance Chomick gets the convert, and with 3:42 to go, the Argos have a 16-point lead. We've seen a lot of wild and woolly finishes in the CFL this season. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers one left in the bag here at Winnipeg Stadium because they're in deep trouble, trailing 19-3 with 3 minutes and 42 seconds remaining.
Both those men that were on the screen have done a fine job with their football teams this year, and maybe the break that Winnipeg has had, the 2 weeks off, and that tough trail that the Argos have had to go is showing up. The intensity coming into the game.
The bespectacled Hank Olesic to kick off after the Johns touchdown. This is Kent Petway who gets it out to the 41-yard line. Blue Bombers have managed 201 yards in offense. And most of that, about 150 of that in the first half. And Gilbert Renfro has directed the Argonauts to 341 yards. And what a game Gilbert Renfro has played.
With good balance, 107 of that on the ground.
Clements and the Blue Bombers desperate now. Clements with Sellers giving chase, gets it away, completes it to Tuttle, who is forced out of bounds at the 43-yard line of the Blue Bombers for a gain of 2 or 3. All these weapons that the Bombers have, Tuttle and Murphy and Reeves and Boyd, they've all been taken away by the Argos today. Not to mention Clements.
It really seems the only time this afternoon that Winnipeg has gathered some momentum and started to chug along is when Willard Reeves was catching the football and catching little dump passes over the middle.
2nd and 8 Blue Bombers at their 43. Clements over the middle for Boyd. It's complete, and he's to the Toronto 40 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the Winnipeg Stadium clock. The Blue Bombers into Argo territory, but they're a long way behind. 2 minutes 50 seconds left, fourth quarter. Winnipeg Stadium, CFL East final, and Toronto Argonauts enjoying a 16-point lead. The Blue Bombers have a 1st and 10 at the Toronto 40. They need to score quickly, recover an onside kick, score again, and get 2 two-point contests.
Well, if anybody can do it, that man, number 2, I think, can direct him to do it.
Willard Reeves on a delay, and he'll have about 6 yards down to the Toronto 34-yard line. 2:35 left. Clements wants a huddle, and he's trying to hurry his players up. Now he's going to go with a hurry-up offense. Second down and 4, Blue Bombers. Clements to pass, has some time, and he just throws it away. Nick Araki was the only Blue Bomber in the area, but Clements was clearly just getting rid of that football. And now the Bombers will face 3rd and 4 at the Argo 34. And if they don't convert it, then any slim chance that they have of coming back will pretty well be gone.
Well, Vernon Paul comes into the huddle, sending Pat Cantner to the sidelines. Probably bringing some help in as far as the play goes.
3rd and 4, Bombers. Flags are down. Clements throws and has Araki for a first down at the Argo 25-yard line. Araki doesn't want to stop there, but finally they blow the whistle. Now we'll wait and see what the penalty's all about, and the Argos are indicating it's against the Blue Bombers.
Steve Rodehusker's left tackle, 66, came up a little bit early.
Illegal procedure, Winnipeg number 66.
Right side of the screen, it'll come up. There you go. Can't have it.
So it'll be third down over for the Blue Bombers and 9 yards to go from the Argo 39-yard line. 2:17 left on the clock. Toronto 19, Winnipeg 3.
Once again, Clements may be looking for the big man, Nick Araki over the middle.
Clements for James Murphy, but it doesn't get anywhere near the Blue Bomber wide receiver. And that will just about do it for the Bombers. 2:12 to go. .212 left on the clock at Winnipeg Stadium, and since the first quarter, this has been as quiet a stadium as you will ever see, as quiet a sold-out stadium, perhaps I should say. The fans came here to celebrate and have fun today. Some of them I'm sure did, but from the first quarter on, it's been all Toronto.
Well, they were having fun until Smith came up with a big catch. Then, of course, Renfro caps it off with a touchdown, and from that point on, it's been all Toronto.
Argos lost 3 yards on that first down play, but they used up some time, and they're using up some more as Renfro takes the ball, and he'll run with it. And he'll be hauled down back at the 27 by Delbert Fowler with 1:48 left on the clock, and the Blue Bombers are going to call a timeout and stop the clock here, so that they'll get it back with about 1:40 to go.
Looking back over the season and the success the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have had when they haven't had the success, one game comes to mind. We did it here on CFN against the Edmonton Eskimos when the Eskimos offensively were able to neutralize the Winnipeg defense, take away those stunts and the aggressiveness that makes them so effective. I mentioned at the top of the show in training camp, Mike Riley had 3 goals. 1, to protect his quarterback. 2, not to have any punts blocked this year. And number 3, pressure the quarterback every possible defensive play they can. Those were the keys for success for them. They've been able to establish and be successful most of the year, but the defense problem has arisen today.
We talked about Tyrone Jones and how his effectiveness has been negated by the Argos. Mark Seal, a former Argo, undoubtedly finding this difficult to swallow. Hank Olesic to punt, and he hits another gorgeous boot. Petway at the 29. And he's rocked at the 36-yard line by Sellers and Selwyn Drain.
Rocked is a good word to describe that. Sellers made a big impression today, chasing down Tom Clements on a number of plays, big sacks and special teamwork. You know, you look at this Argo team, maybe the word possessed is the best word to describe the way they're playing. They just want to be in Vancouver. They've shown it the way they played the last few weeks.
I would say that fits. They have played like a team possessed. And the rewards are on the scoreboard as they lead 19-3. 1:32 left as Clements finds Nick Araki over the middle for a gain of only 6 yards or so. That's Greg Battle, one of the Bomber linebackers and their third down snapper since about mid-season. Tom Clements and the Winnipeg offense going without a huddle. Clements looking for Araki, and it's intercepted by Sellers. Willard Reeves has him and brings him out of bounds down at the Bomber 22 or 23, and a flag comes down. The Bombers are going to be charged for a late hit, I expect. 1:20 left on the clock, and the Argos pick off Clements, and if there was any doubt, there is no longer. And we shouldn't really be surprised at the Toronto Argonauts' success. Maybe the way they're thoroughly dominating this game, but they have been hot.
Gerald Bayless over the middle, controlling that guard center gap, is able to get up, time the jump perfectly, and get his right hand on a Tom Clements pass. And Sellers, as he's done all day, jumping in and out of that defensive set. That time he was playing like a midstream linebacker, moves on the ball and gets himself an interception.
Argos 1st and 10 at the Blue Bomber 12.5-yard line. Toronto has won 7 of its last 8 games coming into this game. Now they fumble on that first down play, and the Blue Bombers get it back. But it's going to be too little too late for the Bombers, as there's a bit of a scrap after the fumble.
Well, the ball seems to hit Finnerty's right elbow. Tries to cradle the ball in, and then he is hit by a defender. The ball just keeps going forward. Benny Thompson shows you the result.
Well, I don't know why Benny Thompson would be celebrating anything at this stage of the football game.
Emotionally, this is an unbalanced scale. Winning a football game of this magnitude, there's nothing like it. But at the other end, when you've had a great season, you just hate to see it end. It's kind of somebody wants to crawl up in that scoreboard and put another 15 minutes on the clock, because these guys just don't want to walk away losers today. Be fighting with themselves all through the offseason. Why did they let this happen?
Well, it does make for a long off season, especially given the circumstances here where the Bombers are playing this final game at home, Neil, and it's been 15 years since they had a final here, and they lost that one in '72 to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They were very confident that that couldn't happen again, but it appears it's going to. Clements finds Reeves on a first down play with 1:10 left, and Reeves drops the football.
That go into winning a football game. But Randy Ambrosi and his offensive line mates, I think, are the main reason the Argos are going to come out on top today. A great job of protecting their quarterback, keeping guys like Tyrone Jones, James West off of Renfro's back.
A look of disbelief on Tyrone Jones' face. The scoreboard says 19-3 Argos, and it's not telling any tall tales. Takes a pass from Clements and gets out to the Winnipeg 50 with 1:03 left. Well, if anybody still questioned how good the Toronto Argonauts were, they've left their card today here at Winnipeg Stadium. They are good. Harry Tuttle can't catch that ball down at the 40. Daniels may have touched it. Certainly disrupted Tuttle enough that he couldn't catch it.
David Daniels has played a good game at that halfback spot. They say Major was healthy and could have played today, but Daniels has been continuing to get better and better. They figure they'll leave him in.
53 seconds. As you can see, second down and 10. Blue Bombers at their 49. Argos leading by 16 points. Clements finds Cantner at center field. He gets away from one and then is down at the 54. He'll come up 3 short of a first down. Who could have imagined the Argos would hold Winnipeg to 3 points?
Not that man. James West will be going to Vancouver, but he'd rather be going with his teammates. They'd give that all up right now to get a shot at that Grey Cup.
Blue Bombers, Clements back there, has lots of time and finds Cantner. Will get up and try to run with it at the 46, but won't get anywhere. And that runs the clock down to 32 seconds remaining.
Looking back over in the games we've done with the Toronto Argonauts and listening to Bob Obilovich in our meetings, and him having a plan, knowing that this team would get better and better, and the people that he had, a couple of key injuries, that Renfro being one, missing 9 weeks of the season, but having people that go in and fill in. They've done a good job with this football team in Toronto.
Well, that's putting it mildly. Here's Iraqi over the middle, and he'll have a gain of 8 or 9. The clock down to 20 seconds remaining. Iraqi has been, I guess, the Bombers' best offensive weapon today. He's been their leading receiver. Got 5 for 58 yards. As the Argos continue to celebrate, and well they should. They have played some football game at Winnipeg Stadium. They lead by 19-3 with 20 seconds to go.
But keeping things in perspective, enjoy this win, the victory, and the plane ride back to Toronto, and have some fun for maybe a day, but more importantly, look forward to the next game, the last game.
Clements going deep, and it's intercepted at the 5-yard line. 50-yard line, still going to the 53, fumbles. There is a flag, 2 flags on the play. And time is expired on the clock at Winnipeg Stadium. Game can't end on a penalty, of course. Although Ross Perrier may rule that the infractions
Illegal pass.
cancel one another. Illegal pass is what he calls, and that's it. And the Toronto Argonauts have come into Winnipeg Stadium, and they have really walloped the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 19-3, and they'll now go to Vancouver next Sunday for the Grey Cup game.
So the 87 Eastern title goes to the Toronto Argonauts as they pull off the 19-3 upset of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. When it came to talent, the Bombers had a big advantage. But the 87 Argos played their best football in the second half of the season, and in particular, this Eastern final game. The Argos would go on to face Edmonton in the Grey Cup from BC Place in Vancouver. 74 points were scored in that game as Edmonton outlasted the Argos by a score of 38-36. For CFL Classics, I'm Chris Schultz. Thanks for watching.